You're listening to
But First, a Big Brother podcast.
Hosted by superfans
Nick,
Praz,
and Jill.
It's day 30 inside the Big Brother house, and the ghost of Janelle continues to haunt the game as her closest ally, Kaysar, sits firmly on the block, guilty by association.
well, here we are, another week gone by.
Yep.
It's so boring at
Yeah.
this point. Yes, there have been boring seasons in the past, of course. But this one, if you're like going to be like, we're Big Brother All-Stars, and this is the show, it's small stars, and it's not just me that feels this way for once, which is actually really, really refreshing. Because normally I'm the naysayer who like is bored and doesn't like the show, even though it's because I love the show and I like strategic gameplay. But this is just so boring. Voting with the house.
I think also, like, not just boring, it's disappointing.
Yes.
Because there were such high hopes in the beginning. And, like, listen, like, I still love watching the show. Like, I won't, even if it is, like, quote-unquote boring the rest of the season, I will watch it. It's just so disappointing that, like, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, and especially, even if our loyal listeners know who listened to the first episode, we were excited about this cast because we were like, oh, cool. It's, it's a good mix of people. We've got varying ages, varying races, and it just felt like, wow, a good step in the right direction for Big Brother for once.
But no. Unfortunately.
I knew, you guys are obviously quite down because of the past few weeks and everything that's going on. So I actually have a little surprise for you. Neither of you knew about this. Hold on. I need to get something ready. I know that
I love surprises.
This is a visual medium, I understand, but you might be able to drop some audio in. You guys have access to your emails?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my God. Cameo from Janelle.
Oh,
okay. Oh my God. It's a cameo. It's a cameo.
Oh my God. I have it.
Okay, so do you guys want to mute yourself and listen, and then we can like drop it?
Oh my God, I'm like crying.
Hey, this is for Nick and Praz, by Jill. I know Nick and Praz, you are co-hosts on But First, a Big Brother podcast. So thank you so much for your podcast. I have heard of it. I think I thought I saw some stuff on YouTube with it, but whatever. I know that I'm your all-time favorite player, and you're so sad that I'm gone. I'm sorry that I make you sad. Like, I don't know. They were gunning for me since day one, so whatever. Sucks, right? But I really wouldn't have it any other way, because that's the only way I'm used to playing, right? Also, some skincare tips. Okay. So, where do I start? I really love La Mer, obviously. I use their concentrate serum as well as their soft moisturizer. That's the one that you have to warm up in your hands and you just like press it into your skin. That one is amazing. I also love Amore Pacific. That is a Japanese or Korean brand. I don't know. That one's really good too. Like,
I can die. I can
amazing.
just die.
For sleeping oil, I do the Luna Sleep Oil. It's like a blue. And then I also do Good Genes by Sunday Riley. Love it. Eye cream, Shiseido. That one is like super gooey and thick, and you put it here and here, and it just like gives you that youthful look. Anyway, I hope that's enough tips for today. I absolutely love you, Nick and Praz, and thank you for rooting for me always. Love you both. Bye.
Oh my God, listening to your voices was so good.
Oh my God, Jill. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're welcome. I knew it would cheer you guys up a little bit.
Oh my God.
I have to say, she's a great, not to plug, we're not sponsored by Cameo, but Janelle's a great cameo. She gets it done quickly. She really gave us a lot of information.
Yes.
She really said the way we say "but first."
I know.
Like,
She definitely has not heard of it.
I'm cracking up.
She's so sweet. I love her so much. I've bought 2 cameos for Friends. They were like Bravo celebrities, and let me just say, Janelle did much better than both of those people.
I've seen cameos like from those Bravo people who are like, "Oh yeah, I think this is from," like they'll be like, "Oh, hi Rit, your friend. I think this is from Kristen. Wanted to wish you a happy birthday." It's just like,
yeah,
Jill, you've done it again.
Listen, I'm the queen of surprises. Well, that's so hopefully that'll make this pod a little bit more fun. Her what do you call Kaysar? Like her bestie, her number one, her
ride or die.
They call each other like BB soulmates or whatever.
That's cute.
Yeah, Kaysar said in his post-eviction interview that he feels like he and Janelle have been friends in a past life.
Oh,
sweet! I bet they have.
I've read just a few of his post interviews, and they have been of the very same ilk. I feel like that Janelle had last week.
Yeah.
It's just like they had no shot. Really, and this new skill of playing is just so different, and he wanted to just play the game, and it's like that's the thing that these new players don't seem to understand. It's like Janelle and Kaysar are just having fun playing the game, which is supposed to be like wild and crazy and whatever. And they're not trying to be disrespectful.
Or distasteful. What did they say?
Tasteless and disrespectful. Never said a bad thing about him until now.
She's bitter. I can't handle her.
Kaysar's getting a lot of credit this week for, quote, blowing up the house on his way out. And, I think it's just kind of like an editorial overreaction because something actually happened in the house. Like,
I agree.
I was really hoping that his message would have been a little bit more clearer. He kind of was like, he almost sounded nervous in what he was saying. And, he was like, basically, to summarize, he was saying that Cody and Nicole are running everything. Cody's also in another alliance with the boys, Enzo, Tyler, and he also said David, which was kind of funny. And then that Cody's working with Nicole, and that there's definitely a core 4, which is all true. He also should have named, like, pleaded to people like, so if I did not say your name, Davon, Bailey, Kevin, what are you guys going to do to change the narrative of this season? Like, really, like, go out there and just name as many names as possible, because it's very Cody Nicole focused, and it doesn't even matter that he exposed them because they're all working together anyway. Like, it's still the 6 people. He's just saying like, oh, well, Nicole, like Cody, Nicole, Danny are like at the head of this octopus, the way that Ian said it. And it's like, yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing. That just says to Davon, Bailey, Kevin that they're on the outskirts, but that doesn't change anything because they still don't have the votes anyway.
I can see, like, I don't know, Nicole or Christmas saying something stupid like that, but Danny knows this game. She is an old school player. Like, what she did was just play the game.
Here's the thing. I actually liked the segment this week where she was kind of stirring the pot a little bit, and people were like, what about, like, Danny's doing something? Like, because it was just at least a deviation from house mentality. And I was like, oh, okay. But then when she was like, Kaysar, it was tasteless and disrespectful. I do think it's because he said love triangle and they took it literally instead of him, like it was a metaphor. Right.
And everyone else seemed, even Cody, who I know I watched the feeds after Kaysar was evicted, and he was upset about what Kaysar said, but even like as Kaysar was leaving, he gave him a hug and like joked around about it. And Danny was just so like, she
motioned for him to just get out the house.
Yeah.
She also like slithered away so that she wouldn't be near him for the hug.
And then he still like he kind of was like, come on. Yeah, like give me a hug. But like she thought she was, I think, flying under the radar and being so sneaky and getting away with everything, and like he put her on blast, but like it's a game. That's what you're supposed to do. And like you need to have a different reaction if you want to try to like rebound from that quickly. Like I don't know.
Well, so in some of Kaysar's post-eviction interviews, he was like, immediately after I said that, he's like, I felt very icy vibes from Nicole and Danny, who then sat there with their arms crossed the rest of the night.
It would have been more hilarious. Okay, I'm going back a couple seasons. Remember when Brett like accused Rockstar on the like during his speech, and she fucking flipped out, and she's like, because it wasn't true, he was lying about her. It's like, that is to me a more genuine reaction. Like, they should have been like, that's not true, or something. Like, if you're gonna, but like sitting there awkwardly folding your arms, looking pissed, looking exposed, is just going to tell everyone in the house, and it did tell everyone in the house, that Kaysar was onto something. He wasn't 100% correct with all of his, in his speech, but he made some good guesses.
It's very interesting that Nicole F is kind of getting a lot of credit where I don't think she deserves it, because she didn't form any of these alliances. It's really been Cody and Enzo and Memphis. But I also think it's really weird that Memphis is getting a lot of credit for forming that the committee 6-person alliance, because I feel like he's not really part of it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, like, I'm so confused. Okay, because Julie keeps exposing, like she did to Janelle and Kaysar, like this 6, right, with Memphis and Christmas. But then the Slick 6, even though they all hate each other now, and that's probably done, but like in the edit, it was like all about the Slick 6. So yeah, to your point, like, who's aligned? I mean, it all is too messy. We saw it this week in the show. Like, it's too messy. It's too confusing. The Danny moment of coming in and saying we need a meeting in front of Nicole was so funny and like hilarious. Like, I think Praz, you said you knew this was going to get messy and was going to, too many alliances was going to be confusing. And it was, but like, so who is loyal to anybody? And yeah, I mean, Memphis is playing well, but whose alliance is even in power right now? I'm so confused.
Right. That's what's so confusing.
The thing with Danny exposing the Slick 6 to Nicole, where I think the actual screw up there was not so much her exposing it to Nicole. I think Nicole already knew about it, and I think Danny tells Nicole a lot more. I think it created more friction with Tyler and Danny, as opposed to like Nicole being like, what? I'm left out of another 6-person alliance? Like, that it doesn't seem to bother her at all from what I've seen. With Memphis, I think they are still a 6. It's weird, and I think that's maybe why Memphis is actually playing like a really strong game right now, because you see that both Janelle and Kaysar came out completely blindsided, even though the entire time Memphis kept telling them, no, I don't think there's a big alliance. I don't think there's a big person alliance. Like, that should have been their first clue that, like, oh, Memphis is part of a big alliance. Like,
I know.
To be so sure that there wasn't one. It's like, even the people who are in other alliances are like, I think there's a big, like, because they're trying to throw people off their scent. It's like Memphis was just being like, no, I don't think so. I think you're wrong. It's funny that he's flying so under the radar with people that are leaving. I don't know if that's the case with the people left, but
it's
I do think,
because he's like not in any of the episodes. Like, I forget he's there.
Oh, I think he hates being there, and I think it's like he is there to work. Like, he is there to win money for his family, I think. Which I know, like, I appreciate the players who don't care about the money, like Janelle or Kaysar or Nick Walsh. But like, I also understand, like, I kind of respect him being like, ugh, like, no, I don't want to play charades with you guys. I'm just going to go to sleep and like wake up tomorrow. And like, he's been working out a lot and doing that stuff. And he's clearly like, he's getting far. And I think he's pretty much safe this week with Christmas being HOH. But he's just playing a different, like, he's an old man almost in that house now.
He is, and they call him old man, and he apparently like broke his back, and they were just like, what are you gonna do now, old man?
During the veto competition that he was not in, but when they got surprised with that paint splatting out, he goes, ow, I hurt my back, because he like jumped forward like shocked at the paint. He wasn't even in the competition, and I have to say, my back has been spasming for like the last 24 hours, and I really, really relate to Memphis right now.
One of the only good segments on the show this week was Mornings with Memphis. That was legitimately funny.
Yeah.
Mornings with Memphis was funny, but again, I was like, ugh, he's not working with Kaysar. Like, I just was like annoyed that anybody who like wouldn't work with him was having fun with him. I'm like, he's not yours to play with. That also shows, though, like, the age difference. Like, Kaysar and Memphis, like, they can just, like, have a fun time together. It doesn't have to be, like, hiding in a room, like, snookering. Like, they're just sitting in the living room, like, having fun. Whereas if Bailey and Davon were doing that, people would be like, "Oh my god, can you believe that, like, they were hanging out together? They were seen together?" Like,
yeah, totally. Ian's having a rough few days. His energy, which is generally, I would say, a nervous energy, probably 24/7, you would say, has now switched to almost a paranoid energy. And he's like doing less of the swinging, rocking thing. And he's definitely doing more of a like patrolling different rooms and coming in and trying to like talk to people. But like, just because of how he is, it's really hard for him. It's very obvious that he's distressed, I think, to people, and it's putting people on edge. Like, what's going? Like, he's already been caught in like a couple little lies, which we can get into, but I'm worried about Ian, who I chose to win this season.
He's one of the only people left that I care about, and I really want him to do well. But yeah, he seems quite stressed. But I mean, yeah, he played a little too hard this week, at least like in the edit. Like they were, him having all those different conversations, and I think Nick had said this to me, like I didn't come up with this, but he really didn't. He just said to Kaysar, like, you're not getting the votes. But, like, he really did nothing to be like, how can we get the votes? Or what?
Exactly. Here is what my annoying issue of the week is. Davon, Bailey, Kevin, Ian all went to Kaysar and said, you need to blow up the game on your way out. You need to stir some stuff up. Instead, and here's the thing. If you were looking at the numbers and say, we need the one person who is not in an alliance to be voted out, instead of saying, how can we work with this person to bring them over and actually make a move? It really is super frustrating that they're like, Kaysar, we're not, we don't even have the votes to save you. So you need to just do something that we're all too scared to do.
Right.
Instead of Davon, Bailey, Kevin, all of them coming together. Even I did the math, and I think they could get 5 votes if they brought.
They could have gotten 5, which would have been a tie.
And then at least would make a stand, but and say, you know what, we're on to you. Instead, it's like, we can't get the votes, so you need to do something about on your way out. And that to me is just, it's so weak. It's so boring. Yeah. It's just so uninteresting and disappointing.
Also, on the other side, like the main alliance or whatever, the committee, the Slick Six, whatever you want to call any of them, they were stupid this week to just gone after Kaysar, because he would have made any deal they wanted. Come to our side for 2 weeks, numbers, you can't do this, you have to throw comment. He would have said yes to anything. They could have had him as a number. So to not even think about that is just bad gameplay.
Yes.
And I know, like, it was, everyone realized, like, oh, Kaysar's fate is sealed. The second Christmas was the replacement nom. To me, get rid of, even though I didn't want another, like, woman to go home, like, get rid of Christmas over Kaysar. Christmas is winning competitions. Like, why couldn't they have, if they had the 5, I feel like they could have swayed one person from that other alliance who is perhaps questioning like their position in that alliance, or doesn't feel like they're as strong of a competitor as Christmas. Maybe like Nicole, not a Nicole F, because she's never going to stray from Danny or Cody, I think, but like maybe Memphis, they could have maybe swayed him or something to like
Tyler,
maybe even Enzo to break the tie and say, you know what, actually I'm going to get rid of Christmas, make a move on your HOH and start building a resume for Final 2. It's like, what? So frustrating.
Yeah. Just draw a line in the sand already and do something. Otherwise, again, if you're not part of this core 4, you're expendable.
Right.
Christmas is expendable to that alliance.
Right. And like, think about, had Christmas gone home, Davon would have been HOH this week, maybe. Like, we don't know, obviously, because we don't know who would have said whose name during that elimination thing. But like, the power could have drastically shifted, and you would have the numbers basically, because whoever's HOH that week, if you're around a 5-5 split or whatever in the house, you're gonna pull one person over when you're HOH, when your side has the power.
Yes,
at least one person. So it's like they just are playing scared. And as much as I hate the team that's in power, it's like you can't. They're in power and like they are an alliance and they are at least like sticking to their alliance. So it's like I'm not for these people who are like getting nominated week after week or feeling like, oh, I don't have the power, but doing nothing to try to get it. Like, I don't like, you know what? You had multiple chances the last 3 weeks at least to really have had this game go a completely different direction. And I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but I really think like the group that's not in power, I hope they realize like what they've done.
They're willingly just sending themselves to slaughter. They're not even and when people say, like when Kaysar was telling Bailey, like, you know, you're not part of this core, and she gets offended, like being like, you don't know what I'm doing. Like just because you're part of the Slick Six, Bailey, does not mean you're actually part of something that's doing something.
Yeah.
Like he literally mapped it out for her and she was like, no, you're wrong.
Right.
And guess what?
Well, there is one person who isn't scared and who is playing the game, and that's the wall yeller.
Oh my God.
Oh, what a hero, national hero, the wall yeller.
Everyone, you know, our listeners, if they don't know, we should explain what happened this week.
So this week there was somebody outside the house. So for anybody who doesn't know, like obviously the house is on a studio lot in Studio City, where I live 3 miles away. And you can in Big Brother seasons past, people have like yelled over the wall, they've flown planes with banners, and immediately production like gets everybody inside and like locks the house down, the feeds get cut and everything. So this week somebody was yelling that Nicole and Cody are running everything. And Christmas was outdoors and heard it. I think Ian maybe heard it as well. Like there were people who heard this and are willingly just ignoring it, Ian and Christmas. But and so that kind of is what sparked Ian to start connecting the dots about, oh, Kaysar's actually kind of been telling the truth this whole time. There is this alliance, and here's how I see it forming. And in fact, you know, Kaysar was so sure that it was 4-4-4, and Ian was like, it's more than that. And so that was really interesting to see. There was also a banner plane that flew over. Really? I don't know what it said.
Watch Love Island, 9:00 on CBS.
Oh my God. When they used Janelle to plug Love Island, I hope they all got paid extra for that.
I doubt it.
I think congrats to the CBS promo team for that, because I loved it. I thought they also played it. I am watching Love Island this season, embarrassingly enough. They played that commercial during Love Island last night.
Oh, weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
A commercial for Love Island during Love Island?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like, you know, I don't know why, because it really feels like Big Brother. Like, I don't know. It's like a fun commercial.
Interesting. I do feel like it was probably like semi of a genuine conversation. Janelle just truly is, I think, a fan of like she's a big Survivor fan, as we know, and we've heard her talk about. So I feel like Survivor could almost cut together like a very similar promo of her just like talking about how much she loves Survivor and obviously Amazing Race and all of that. So I think it was like an actual moment, but I did feel like, ew, like she should get a bonus from
And you know, I think I mentioned this on the last pod, but David, said that he thought he was going to be on Love Island this summer, and that he was working out in the beginning of the year because he wanted.
Was that a joke or was he serious?
He's serious.
Oh my God! I have a gripe with David.
My Siri just went off.
Oh.
So it's like, God, he's so boring in the house. Could you imagine going on a date with him? They'd be like, So what are your favorite movies? And he'd be like, what do you mean by that?
What was that? Like that was so weird.
I'm telling you, he is the twist of the season. He was just brought in to be the bumbling Mr. Magoo saboteur, and we, the viewers, are suffering because of it. It's not even funny. Like, it's not even like,
No.
it would be really funny if he ended up in the final two, haha, because it's
Mhm.
just, one, it validates his existence, because then, Julie will be like, wow, this rookie outlasted some of the all-star greats. And it's like, no, he didn't do anything. He's just
No.
there because he's actually like, it would be better for your game to keep David than Kaysar 100%, but it doesn't mean he's good. It's the same way Christmas winning an HOH competition by literally never buzzing in.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed at that.
He was good at the competition.
Oh, I was so frustrated. Davon was so close.
How good did Davon and Bailey look in yellow?
Oh my god, I loved it. They're like twins. I loved it. So
They
cute.
looked so good, and I loved Davon's energy she was giving off, and she was so focused. I thought she was going to win that HOH. I was like, this is it. This is the moment we've been waiting for.
I know.
Honestly, I thought that competition was really hard. Like,
It was.
with math and faces and just like, it was so, and we are constantly crunching numbers, but I still could not keep up with like even the question itself.
Yeah.
Like, and I was shocked that like Ian got out early, because I thought like, oh, he's gonna get it because it's numbers. It just was weird. I had no idea what was going on. But again, here's the thing: why was that an HOH competition?
That's a veto, or that's like a.
That's a food challenge.
I mean, I feel like they have done HOHs like that when it needs to be quick and live, and I don't mind those. But coming off a veto competition that was an endurance, like, why haven't we had an endurance HOH yet?
Yeah.
Like, why have we not had it? Come on, guys.
Exactly. And
frustrating.
I didn't get why the veto this week was that. That to me seemed like an HOH competition, though they actually weren't up there that long, I suppose.
No, but still, like, do something. I don't know. I think what I've heard is like they're not, the competitions this year are kind of this more like easier, like quick style, because for some of those more intense ones where you have to get like rigged up, they would need to have people helping them up and climb, and like because of COVID, they don't want the cast like having to be near people and vice versa. So like, I guess maybe that's why. And with the puppet string one, I think they were able to kind of get themselves into those strings. I don't know.
that competition was weird too. And the worst thing that competition gave us was Kevin confidence.
Yeah. I mean, it gave me hope when he won, because at least it wasn't Enzo who won. You know what I mean? It was like, well, at least I know there's going to have to be a replacement nominee.
It was funny when like he was crying for David to throw it, and David was also like, David was like, I have something to prove to this house too. Like, he's like, I've never won anything. And I did like that he immediately wasn't like, I'm just going to throw it to Kevin, but it was just like people that I do not care about, like whining about why they both should win.
Yeah, I know. Ugh. It's just frustrating to me that the wall yeller happened the week after Janelle left. And like, now this new basement power is happening the week after Kaysar leaves. Like, they're clearly still like stuff's still happening, or like, I'm not saying the wall yeller was production, but like the basement twist is production. And like, why didn't you do that 3 weeks ago? Like, come on. Why didn't you have
Couldn't you put Janelle in the basement?
Yeah, like, do something to save this terrible season.
They don't care. It's almost as if they want Cody, Tyler, like what if production likes what's happening?
I've never seen a sentiment online, at least in my small bubble, of like everybody being annoyed and disappointed at this season. Like, overwhelming majority.
Articles are being written about how boring it is. They've only positioned Janelle and Kaysar as being the only old school players, but Danny's an old school player, Memphis is old school, and Enzo is old school. And I have to say, as much as Enzo annoys me with all his yo, he has done the best job to acclimate to a new school approach and get in with the right people, Tyler and Cody. and and he's actually won things. Like, as much as I'm not like a huge Meow Meow fan, you have to really give it to him for being able to. He's probably also the same age as Memphis, yet he seems younger.
Yeah.
Like he's actually he's actually playing a really good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see. Danny is an old school player, but she's still very young because she was like 10 years old on her first season. So that's very interesting because she is like the same age as like actually she's younger than Christmas, I think. So
oh really?
Yeah. Christmas was the oldest person on her season.
Oh yeah.
Mother time. And then Memphis, he's an old school player, but he's just like we discussed, like he's just not really getting into the whole new school mentality, yet he has aligned with them.
Yeah. I will have to ask Jill. I'm wondering because I know Nick was kind of like a Tyler fan, and you and I were not. Do you think if Tyler does succeed in maybe turning on Danny or getting some people to turn on Danny, that you would like him a little bit more? Because I feel like I at least appreciate that he sees what's going on and he's trying to like possibly stay loyal to Bailey and Davon.
No, it's so funny. I literally had this thought, I think, when I was watching on Thursday. I was like, ugh, like Tyler's doing well. Like I can respect what he's doing, and I think he's playing a really good game and he's being really smart. What I will say is I don't think he has the balls to go after Danny or do any of it. Like I think he's all talk, but I think if he does or like continues honestly just doing what he's doing, he's going to go really far, and I respect him more than I do some of the other people in that alliance.
Yeah, I agree. It's just at least different than what you're seeing from like Danny, Cody, and Nicole.
Yeah, I am a big Tyler fan, despite the fact that he did get Janelle out of the house. But hey, guess what? That's a big move.
Yes.
However, I would have preferred if he had owned up to it instead of being like he had such buyer's remorse about nominating them, and then he was just kind of like on the fence about why am I doing this? Like I don't need Janelle out. She's a bigger target than me. Like they should have worked together. I always go on the record that Tyler should have won his season. And this season, though, however, I don't think he has done anything that merits winning just yet. I'm not impressed by his gameplay. Like he kind of comes off whiny, and his whole like Angela, I love you, like bothers me. If anybody out there watches The Americans or watched The Americans with Carrie Russell, sometimes he really looks like her when she's like
with the glasses and
yeah.
One of her like ugly disguises where
yes, when she's got like a funny wig and big glasses, that's what he looks like. So, of course, on the eviction episode, even though they want to be like, Kaysar blew up the house, like, I don't think there's going to be any ramifications. But, we did get to see your girl, Julie, Jill.
Right away, I was displeased. We went down after last week's sort of like shining moment. The pants didn't fit right. The shirt, Praz said it best, it's a work shirt. Unclear what the look was going for. Not into it. And she made another iconic screw up this week.
Oh man,
my Jill.
When how did it even go?
Kaysar was saying, just talking from his heart, and Julie goes, Kaysar, that's exactly why America voted you back in 15 years ago. And it was
he went to grab for his bag like he thought he was going back in.
Yeah, and in his exit interviews, he's like, I don't even know what I was thinking. He's like, I had every emotion, and you can see it on my face despite wearing a mask, like, what went through me. And she's like, no, I mean 15 years ago. Like, Danny, let me just say how beautiful you looked last week. Speaking of our favorite things of the week, you guys ready to crunch some numbers?
Let's do it.
Welcome to Crunching Numbers, our weekly segment where we take on a mental challenge of our own. Okay, so we all remember the iconic necklace Janelle was wearing last week when she went home. It was a nameplate. It said Janelle. It was in gold. In fact, I was literally like, oh, I kind of want that necklace, and like was going to look up like a Janelle nameplate necklace for me to wear. Well, she heard me. So she listed it on eBay, and it's actually, the proceeds are going to charity. And I was like, oh, cool. And like when I first saw it, it was like $1,000. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let me just see, there's a lot of time left. And, I'm sure like I can just swoop in at the end and like buy it for like $1,500. And then like an hour later, it was like $2,200. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I woke up the next day, and are you guys ready for what the number is?
Yeah.
$18,300 for Janelle's nameplate necklace.
Wow.
Do you think that's cool? Like, how some of these people like never end up paying? Like, that's
so I don't know.
Funny.
That's a
also,
lot.
is it real gold?
Wow. I don't know.
So there's been 88 bids.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for Janelle's necklace. And somebody did the math. They were like, that's 5 Nicole weddings.
With Nicole, there's another sort of sad number that Nick.
Oh, yeah.
As of September 4th, Nicole now holds the record for being in the Big Brother house the longest, taking the record from Janelle, who had also previously taken it from Paul. It's such a disappointing thing.
It's so annoying.
That's crazy.
So Janelle was in the house for 200 days, and Nicole has now been in it for like 203 days.
I'll have a crunchy numbers for us next week, but Nick, I think thanks for keeping us up to date on the.
Yeah.
So should we just do it and get into spoiler zone?
Spoiler zone. As we saw on the HOH this week, it was almost Davon, which would have been so good. And did you notice how, Danny was the first to say, oh, Bailey and Davon?
Of course.
It was, you could see the battle lines being drawn on who was targeting who. Davon, I'm pretty sure, got up there the most. And then maybe Memphis. And of course, Christmas did not have to go until the very end, when she didn't buzz in when it was her versus Memphis. Memphis lost it. And then Davon lost it, and it went to Christmas. So effing annoying. Christmas went on to nominate Bailey and Davon. Surprise, surprise. And then has now been crying about it. And like Bailey's been consoling Christmas. It's very weird.
That's ridiculous.
Bailey was like, I thought we were working together. And Christmas goes, we weren't working together. We were only sharing information.
Oh my God. Any HOH that's going to sit there and cry, you just did this. No one is forcing Christmas against her will to put up Bailey and Davon. You did this. Yes. Why are you crying?
Every conversation that Christmas is having, she's like, Davon, I need you to win this veto because I need you to be here. Like, I can't have the girls getting picked off. And it's like, Christmas, you are the one who nominated them. You nominated 2 women. You're the first female HOH of the season, and you've nominated the 2 women. So it's super frustrating. It's also, again, expected. And here's the thing. So they're playing veto today, which is really funny because it's 110 degrees. So I'm really hoping it's an endurance competition in the but I would say I really hope Davon wins it. I think she needs it more than Bailey. It's really weird, the temperature in the house. They find Bailey to be emotional and sassy, quote unquote, but I think they see Davon as a bigger threat strategically. I don't know where they would fall. But I really do hope that one of them wins the veto. And, in a really pretty moment the other night, Bailey was like, I want to win the veto and take you off. And Davon was like, no, that is not how this goes.
I understand the frustration with Christmas. Like, I do think Christmas made probably the best move for her game at this point. But I think what's interesting, and it's really hard, I've realized. Like, I used to say it's hard to just watch the show and not watch the feeds because you're not really getting the full story. But I now feel like it's hard to watch the feeds without getting to see diary rooms, because I really don't know when I'm watching the feeds, because unless they do that thing where, like, when they're alone in their HOH, they talk to the camera and kind of like reveal. on the feeds. Otherwise, I don't frickin' know if she's bullshitting this person or bullshitting this person, or if she's truly aligned with Danny or if she's truly aligned with Tyler. But what's interesting is what's coming out with these new basement powers. And I don't know how much you guys have seen of that.
Fill us in.
So I only know, and maybe Nick, you know more, I only know 2 people who won powers in the basement power, whatever that even is. And one of those people is Danny, and we know that she's upset about her power and thinks it's a stupid power and like it sucks and it wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know that Christmas has a power, and what I know is that they've both talked to each other and that neither of them have told each other that they have a power.
Really?
No. Yes. But Danny told Nicole, and so Nicole knows that Danny has a power, and Christmas told Tyler that she has a power. And so as far as I know, she's only told Tyler, and Tyler said, I'm not going to tell anyone. Trust me, and if it gets out, you'll know I told, and so I'm not going to tell anyone because I know you're only telling me, whether that's true or not. But at that point, I think it was. Christmas's power is that basically in the next, well, she probably wouldn't use it this week because she's HOH, but in the following 2 weeks, she gets to basically, if the veto's won and like someone's going to take themselves off the block, she gets to, before the HOH announces a replacement nom, she gets to basically block someone from being the replacement nom, I think. And so if she wins the veto, there's like, she was explaining it where something like if she wins the veto, then she
just said basically if she wins the veto, she has a little bit more extra power because let's say like Bailey is the HOH and Christmas wins the veto, she can
take herself off. Like if she were nominated, she could take herself off,
and
but then also say, I protect this person.
Yes, it's very like the movie Pocahontas when they're about to kill John Smith and Poe comes running in and is like, no, I love him. Sorry, Coco Womb, you're on the block.
I think that's the only way, truly, in the last 3 minutes I've understood anything that's going on. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Beating drum.
Sorry.
And then Danny's power. What is Danny's power?
Danny's power, I'm a little confused by, but basically in the next 3 weeks, also she gets to basically let an HOH. It could be herself, maybe too, but like if someone's HOH, you know how normally they can't play in the next HOH, she can override that for someone in the next 3 weeks. So let's say like she really wants Christmas to play in the next HOH next week, she could let Christmas play.
Got it.
I would probably like hold on. At this point, they have the numbers. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Because Christmas didn't tell Danny that she has a power, and because Danny didn't tell Christmas she has a power, to me, they're not as closely aligned as, you know, either of them might think. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder, like, is this possibly an opportunity for Tyler to try to influence Christmas to take out Danny this week? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I can only pray.
In this imaginary scenario, while I'm in the house, I would be like, I got a power. I got the I got the coup d'etat or something. You know, like, of course, nobody's like lying and saying they got a power, and I think nobody knows. Well, it hasn't been revealed in the feeds who has the third power. Some people think it might be Kevin.
Yeah, they're speculating him.
You know, on Twitter, people were like, why can't America vote for the power?
Oh, that's a good point.
Every season is supposed to be for us, but like, especially this season was really supposed to be for the fans, especially making it an all-star season. Like, throw in some fun, like, America votes things. Like, why have there been zero? Like,
very good point.
Or America should be able to vote on the have-not.
Right. Well, they're not even doing this week. Why?
And I'm thinking maybe because of the heat, but I don't know. It's so stupid. It's like, oh, you get a week off. Why?
Yeah.
No, it should be everybody.
Well, I'm wondering if it's for Labor Day because they're going to have like a barbecue or something.
Oh my God, speaking of Labor Day, all of the fans on Twitter make fun of Christmas's name. So when they want to put her down, they're like, I can't believe Labor Day won. Or they're like, National Assistance Day. Like,
oh my God. Not to promo Love Island anymore, but they are very active with using their app and having America vote. So I don't know why Big Brother can't do something like that.
Yeah.
Something. Like, we could have saved Janelle 7 times already.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to me that you look back on seasons where, like, it was like almost too much like America influence, like season 15 with Alyssa, or like obviously, you know, America's Player in season 8 or whatever. Yeah. Like if any season to do it, it's All Stars. Like I just can't believe it.
And it's very funny because in seasons past, I've always been like, I wish they would stop with the twists and just play an all natural game, like blah 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 blah. But that was after the seasons you just mentioned, Kristen, where it'd be like, oh my god, enough already, just play, like, you know. So I did want to give an update real quick and a thank you shout out to one of our loyal listeners, Michael. After last week when I mentioned Chelsea, he did a little deep dive on what Chelsea is up to lately. Because guess what? I tried finding her on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and I couldn't find her. But he found her. She's married.
Oh.
Her profile is private, but here's her bio. Chelsea, sun chaser, as in like the planet, the sun, not like a child. Wino, cat mom, yogi, traveler, marketer, foodie, fitness enthusiast, aspiring violinist, boater, wifey.
What the one thing I'm looking for is, do you still have an asymmetrical haircut?
That's what I want to know. I was like, what about like?
I don't care.
Modern Bob enthusiast.
There were like 10 descriptors though of her.
I know, wifey.
What would yours be, Nick?
Why don't you tell me?
I think Julie's would be robot, host, Moonves.
Yeah. Follower of Christ.
Oh,
all right.
Love it.
What would mine be?
Like Devil Boy, coffee drinker, enthusiast.
Naysayer.
Joey Pinto.
Yeah.
Truther.
No, we can't have Joey Pinto on this podcast.
Deep cut. No, mine would say like plant dad. Ew, no, it wouldn't.
Nick,
no. Oh, yours would be like squirrel feeder.
I do. I have these insane squirrels in my backyard, and I bought a bird feeder recently that's supposed to be squirrel proof, and they figured it out.
They're so smart. They're so smart.
Don't even go to the feeder. The squirrels just take it.
Good for the squirrels.
That's in Big Brother. I would be Squirrel Nikki or something.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a week. What a sad week. I think that we're in for maybe a boring rest of the season, but we're going to keep potting. Yeah. We're going to keep complaining.
And we're going to keep going on our little tangents. And most importantly, we're going to be crunching numbers.
Thank you.
Jill, thank you so much for the surprise cameo.
Thank you. It was so sweet.
It was such a pleasure.
We'll have the full cameo on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll do that. And oh God, I love her so much.
3 miles down the road from the Big Brother house, I'm Nick.
I'm Praz.
And I'm Jill. And just remember, leave judgment at the door. Good night.
Dun, 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 dun.